Right. Before you start, so was there ever official tickets on the game?
It was sold out. It was sold out. Yeah. Notes. All right, let's get started here. Aggie Pride. Aggie Pride. Well, we're coming back here on this Monday after a win. How about that? The Aggies defeated Winston-Salem State 27-20 in overtime. Very exciting game. Couple of notes from the game. Andrew Brown, 52-yard field goal, ties the school record. He is the first Aggie in program history to have two career 50-yard field goals. He had one last week against Wake Forest, so congratulations to him. Wesley Graves had his first 100-yard career game, so congratulations to him. And now I know you're tired of hearing me talk. You want to hear about the game last week and the game this week against Delaware, 1 p.m. at Truist Stadium. So without further ado, please give a warm welcome to our head coach, Vincent Brown.
Well, it is a great day in Aggie land. It feels great to come up here after a win. And I know some people might look at it and say, well, you guys were supposed to win, you know. In college football, there are no givens. There are no givens. Just ask Marcus Freeman and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish who lost to Northern Illinois this weekend. There are no givens. Each and every week, you have to come out and play your absolute best. With that being said, we did not play our best, but I am so proud of our players and the way they fought back. It would have been very easy to get down on themselves when Winston scored late in the fourth quarter to take a lead, but our kids maintained their composure. We knew we had put countless hours into preparing for a 2-minute situation. As that ended up playing out, I thought our kids' offensive line did a really good job of moving the ball throughout the course of the day. We ran for, I think it was 230 yards or so. The last drive, Wesley Graves did a tremendous job of just moving the chains, he and Kevin White. I thought Kevin maintained his composure, was very, very calm. Had a couple of really big throws to get us down into field goal range where our kicker Andrew Brown, who is as good as anyone in the country right now with his leg strength and accuracy, kicked the field goal to get us into overtime. I thought defensively, there were many points during the game where we played really well. And then there were some moments where we did not play well, where we had mental errors and breakdowns in how we're supposed to fit a couple of runs. We had two critical penalties late that allowed them to move the ball down into scoring territory, which ultimately allowed them to score. And so we recognize that you can't have those things to happen and expect to win. You just can't have those things to happen. So a lot to learn from, a lot to build off of, and getting ready for this week's opponent, getting into conference play. It's really exciting to be able to go up against a team like Delaware and see how we match up. Last year we got a chance to travel up to their place and literally had a chance to win the game, but we turned the ball over a multitude of times. And so what I've seen from our team thus far this season is that we've grown. And, we're not a finished product by any means, but there's been a lot of maturity, and I'm really excited about what the future of our program holds.
Coach, there was a scary scene late in the second half where Karan Punty was taken out on a stretcher. Can you provide an update on his health status? Yeah,
Karan is fine. He was at yesterday's walkthrough practice. We actually expect him to play this weekend.
Also,
Yeah, Kenji's status for the game is still to be determined. He's in getting treatment today. We'll see how he feels tomorrow. And if he can't go, we said yesterday, next man up mentality. So, we saw Saturday that Wesley Graves really stepped up, had his, first 100-yard game. We got Shamik Blizzard, who did well for us last season and played some meaningful snaps on Saturday. And we have Daniel Coles, who I think is going to be a really, really talented player also. So we'll see about Kenji, but for all of the positions, it's a next man up mentality.
He seemed to grab his hamstring when he went out. Can you confirm that's part of what he's doing?
Yeah, it's a lower leg injury. Like I said, he's day to day right now. We'll see if he's able to practice tomorrow. If not, then we'll just see how he progresses throughout the course of the week.
One last question. So what was the issue with Prunty?
He never lost any feeling. He had total feeling, complete movement. He had some soreness in his neck. And anytime you're dealing with injuries around the head or neck area, the doctors, out of an abundance of caution, are going to cart him, take him in to get CT scans or x-rays to make sure there's nothing, there's no damage there. And, CT scans came back clear. And so he's up walking around and was at practice yesterday.
So he could have probably maybe gotten up in recent years. It's like the new, I guess, medical.
Yeah, most of the guys, okay, I'm ready to get up. And the doctors are like, no, we're going to keep you down. We're going to keep you on the board, take you, and just make sure you get checked out. Yeah.
Having a rivalry win and overtime win, just all the emotions that were surrounding that game, what do you think that does momentum-wise for this group headed into a conference opponent?
I think it builds confidence in our ability to weather emotional storms. There was some back and forth with that game. And, and as you alluded to, this is a long rivalry game, long and storied rivalry. And so, you got to give Winston-Salem State credit. They came out amped up, really well prepared, and gave us all we could handle there. But, the lessons for us is that there's going to be these ebbs and flow, and you can't lose your composure. And like I said to the players yesterday, big time players make big time plays in big time moments. And so, we had some kids to step up and make plays at the right time that allowed us to come out victorious.
When your quarterback throws an interception so early in the game, just how do you get him back in the right mindset? And what do you think it says about Kevin that he was able to respond so well?
Yeah, I think, quarterback, corner, you have to have a short memory. There are going to be things that happen throughout the course of the game. And part of it is on us as coaches to craft the calls to help restore confidence. And I thought Kevin, like I said, late in the game showed a lot of poise and maturity and didn't panic. And, he hit two big throws to Javon Dillard there to get us down into position to kick the game-tying field goal.
Coach, in terms of Delaware this week, looking at the film, what do you believe will be the biggest key factors in terms of determining the outcome this week?
Yeah, we know they're very explosive offensively. Last year, they averaged 32 points a game. They put up 46, I think, or 48 against Bryant in week one. The quarterback's playing at a really, really high level. He knows where to go with the football. They have talented backs. They have good receivers. And they got a big veteran offensive line. And so the challenge for us defensively is to eliminate explosive plays, make sure we make them earn everything. Defensively, they do a good job. They have a little bit of a unique scheme with this 3-3 robber that they play. And you got to be able to run the football. And we have to be able to create some explosive plays on our own in order to win the game.
Like Mississippi State, was there anything on the field that they did that didn't quite show up on your on film?
No. From the scouting reports that our defensive coaches prepared, we practiced essentially everything that they ran in the game. And I talked to our players defensively, like, you have to be able to transition from practice to the actual game in order to have a chance to win. And a couple of times we just misfit runs that we'd practiced all week.
I know Delaware will have an extra week to prepare, having a bye week recently. How do you think that the bye week could help or hurt either team in this game?
It's so early. I don't know if it gives them a tactical advantage other than having 2 games versus our 1 game on them. We went back and, looked at some of their games from last season and, of course, our game. I just think it's all about staying in the moment and preparing for the next opponent. It doesn't matter what happened last week. You take the things that you did well, you try to build on those things. You go in and you look to correct the mistakes that you make. And first and foremost is just to try to make sure you don't beat yourself. And so that's where we're at right now.
Coach, you talked about building off the momentum from last week. You beat Winston State. You get a home game, home conference opener. How much will that help you, do you think, against Delaware this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to be able to come back here and play. We got great fans. We got great fan support. It's a great environment here. You don't have the logistical hurdles of traveling, getting on buses and, riding up to Delaware is a pretty lengthy bus ride. And so, it's nice that we don't have to deal with that. We can relax and, and just kind of focus on preparing to play.
Earlier you talked about KJ growing or the poise that he showed at the end of the game. What's that next step for him this week as they prepare for Delaware?
I think early on, being decisive with the football and being true to the fundamentals that allow a quarterback to be successful. Early in the game, we had a couple of balls that he had thrown, kind of came out a little high. And I think, those are plays that the more experience that he gets, the more comfortable he gets in the offense, the better he's going to be. And like I said earlier, he regained his composure and really down the stretch when it mattered, made the throws with poise, accuracy, and velocity.
With him not being like the tallest quarterback, is there things that you have to do, I guess, as coaching-wise to kind of get him, more sight lines in offense?
He's not 5'8". He's not the tallest kid, but he's not 5'8" or 5'9". Sometimes it's about what we're doing up front protection-wise. Sometimes quick game, an offensive lineman's supposed to cut the defensive lineman to get his hands down. We do have some move the pocket passing, some sprint outs and nakeds to get him on the move, in which we may see a little bit more of that going forward.
And we haven't really seen those explosive running plays that we saw last year from KJ, even in the spring. Is that just him just being more diligent about staying in the pocket and reading what defense giving him, or?
It is. He is, we all know he can run. And he created some plays Saturday night. He scored a touchdown running the football and picked up a couple of nice runs on Saturday night. But I think he wants, and we want him to develop as a complete quarterback, and being able to go through progressions and make throws as part of that development.
So are you willing to sacrifice some of the runs if it leads to better throws down the line?
I think so. I think good teams have the ability to win games the way the games need to be played. And, although I'd like to think we can rush for 300 yards against everybody that will play, there's going to be some games where we're going to have to push the ball down the field, throwing it in order to win.
Coach, I know you mentioned that 3-3 defense. In terms of the offense, how would you describe the scheme and the formations that Delaware likes to run?
Yeah, they're mostly 11 personnel, some 12, spread, a lot of motion, a lot of quick screens to get the ball into the hands of their playmakers. They run zone scheme. They run a little bit of pin and pull, finding ways to get the ball on the perimeter and into the hands of their best players.
How much does that neutralize potential pressure that you might be trying to set up to keep them on balance? response.
Yeah, it does, and we talk about it offensively also. Sometimes you just got to get the ball out to beat the pressure. And so they do a good job of setting up, their quick game, their screens and whatnot. And defensively, it's our job to have answers for it. Ultimately, it's always about keeping the points down defensively. So, they'll get yards. They'll probably hit some chunk plays. But at the end of the game, how do we end up with one more point than they have is all that matters.
How did you grade your offensive line play?
I thought at spots, some of the guys played well. I thought Jason Ivey played well. I thought Caesar, who got nicked up, played well at times. Corian had a solid game. And then a couple of the other guys, kind of struggled.
Just quick, can you walk us through what the communication was on that last drive with KJ and get down to field goal territory?
Well, I mean, I told the offense, hey, here's why we practice these situations so much. And every week we do 2-minute Tuesday and Wednesday, and we do red zone like throughout training camp. And all overtime is an extension of the high red zone. And so our kids felt very confident that, we had time and timeouts. There's no reason to rush and get into panic mode. And we had plenty of time to run the football. And when we had to throw it, to be in position to throw it, to make completions, to get the ball down into field goal range. And when you don't have a kicker like Andrew, then sometimes you feel like you got to score a touchdown because your kicking game is, kind of 50-50. But we felt very comfortable that if we got it within range, Andrew would knock it down. And then, over time, my preference would have been to play defense first. They won. They decided to play defense first. And so our offense did a nice job of producing points. And then now defensively, we just knew we got to keep them out of the end zone and we win the football game.
Coach, Laquan made a great one-handed catch on his touchdown. What is he doing to continue to develop? It seems like he's becoming a bigger part of the offense.
He is. He really is. He's stepped up his game. He's become more consistent and more reliable as a receiver. And the catch he made was really, really challenging catch because there was a defender coming right at him where, had a chance to separate him from the ball. But, I felt like Laquan had a good day. Jamison Warren came in and played well for us. And I really felt Jakari Caldwell has had the best camp out of all of the receivers, and even in the first game played really well and had an opportunity to make some big-time plays on Saturday, and just going to continue to get better throughout the course of the season.
Coach, I know we talked about Prunty a little bit earlier, but for those that maybe don't know much about him, just how does he impact your defense, and just how do you describe his skill set and what he brings to the table for you guys?
Yeah, he's a tremendously talented player. He allows us to essentially lock down the team's best receiver without having to play roll coverage to that side, which allows you to add another hat somewhere else on the field. He's got NFL caliber talent. There's been a ton of scouts in and out to watch him practice and play this season. We'll have scouts at practice this week. And he's maturing as a player, understands the things that needs to be done to make it to the next level.
I know you talked about NFL possible talent. Have you ever gotten a 40 time on him, any kind of measurables, bench press, anything like that?
Well, he's long and he's fast.
Any other questions for Coach? Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you all.
Unfortunately, we don't have the pleasure of having our players here today, so we would invite you to go ahead and get lunch. We'll get ready for our radio show. Just as a reminder, the radio show is an opportunity if you want to ask a couple of questions there of Coach, you can do that during the radio show. Thank you so much.